Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Preston M. Smith. Hey everybody, welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm Preston M. Smith, at PMS Artwork everywhere on internet land and socials. I want to thank you for landing on this podcast. Whether you're a professional artist, just getting started in the art world, a collector of art, or just consider yourself a creative person, this podcast has something for you. I like to think of it as a fun way to rant and talk to other creative people about living the life of an artist, surviving and getting ahead in the art world, and enjoying your life. But most importantly, not waiting until you're dead to make it happen. All right, let's get started. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's also creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Broadcasting live, on lockdown, self-quarantined, not touching my face, and with much personal distancing from PMS Artwork Studios, we are live with PMS. Take it away. Welcome to this quick mini micro show and public service announcement. It is madness out there, ladies and gentlemen. This coronavirus pandemic certainly exceeded my expectations for how quickly things would spread and devolve into chaos. People are quarantined, businesses are closed, some curfews are in place and being enforced, and supermarket shelves are as vacant as a supply run scene from The Walking Dead. Or name your favorite zombie apocalypse movie of choice. My wife and I went out the other day, and I had to take pictures of it all. I couldn't believe how much panic was manifesting right before my eyes. My wife even had to take a break from her work first thing in the morning to stand in line at Trader Joe's the moment they opened and wait to be let in, one small segment of the crowd at a time. I know many of you are experiencing the same, and much worse. Whole countries are on lockdown in parts of Europe and beyond. I've heard from artists in some of these countries not being able to justify being out on the streets to try to buy art materials or attempt to ship a painting due to the fact that they couldn't justify why they were out and with paperwork that their job was a full-time artist. So let's talk about this. I promise that I'll keep it brief because I know how inundated we all are with this information right now. But I just wanted to shine some light on the artistic experience during this pandemic. For me personally, sales have almost ground to a halt. I was lucky enough to sell a diptych to a brave soul in the USA this week. Thank you so much. But that has been it for a while. I know some artists have not even been this lucky. Some artists are afraid to even list new work for fear that they won't be able to ship it, or if they do, that they'll put themselves at risk for catching the virus. Artists in some countries aren't even sure if the postal service is running. Art supplies are hard to get or non-existent due to business closures. The thing that strikes me when I see these supermarket shelves emptied out every day is, well, that's okay for the person who can afford to stock up on a month's supply of food and supplies, but what about the artist who is living painting sale to painting sale? Or the person who just lost their job due to a restaurant being forced to close down? I worked as a server for years, and the majority of my coworkers and myself included lived shift to shift. Even if the food was available, many people in this position can't afford to stock up on 2 weeks' worth of food. Worse yet, some people will lose their job, don't even have a job, or are already living out on the streets. What do? I know gallery owners and artists who are having big exhibitions that are being forced to cancel their shows due to crowd issues and the potential to spread the virus. These are the realities we are dealing with at the moment. But this is a positive podcast. I don't even want to bring the politics of the situation into play, but rather to talk about a feeling of optimism. Where do I personally stand on the spectrum of it not being as big of a deal as the media is telling us and mass hysteria? The answer is somewhere in the middle. My wife and I are taking it seriously. We're taking all the necessary and recommended precautions. We're concerned about our loved ones and people in general who are in a more susceptible and vulnerable category for catching COVID-19. But we're also promoting a feeling of positivity and optimism. We're going about our business, staying home when it's not necessary to go out, but doing our respective jobs and being mindful of what we do and touch. I think that's the key word, mindful. If we're being mindful, we're being aware of those around us. We're not unabashedly coughing all over the store shelf and products like I saw some gentleman doing at Whole Foods. We are not buying more than our fair share of products to make sure that other people have a fighting chance to get theirs, and we're keeping our distance in lines and disinfecting our hands whenever we have a chance. To all my artist friends around the world, remember that despite what might be said or felt, what we do is essential and even more necessary in this moment in time. People need to be distracted, elevated, and inspired. We need to as well. Let's rally around each other and give the support that we need to keep on keeping on with our creations. Let's use this unique moment in history that we are living through to document what is going on around us, not just as a cathartic expression, but as an emotional documentation of what we are going through as human beings. We have the power to expose grave injustices, as well as provide a bit of light and even humor during all this craziness. To all the art supporters out there, thank you for understanding that art is still vitally important. Don't be afraid to support an artist that you follow with a purchase of their work or even buying art gift cards. There are plenty of online art marketplaces open if you don't want to do this in person. This is how we take matters into our own hands and stimulate the economy for many who desperately need it. And hey, won't some new art make you feel a little better right now and take your mind off the news for a few minutes? I think so. Does this situation really suck? Of course it does. But we will all get through it together. Keep a positive attitude, take precaution, be mindful of those less fortunate right now, and buy some damn art. That's right. All right, that's about it for today. I promised I'd keep it brief. Just wanted to get my 2 cents in. Signing off from PMS Artwork Studios in Los Angeles. Remember to be safe out there, my friends, and I will see you next time. This has been the Living Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I just want you to know that I appreciate you being here, and I'm grateful to be in your ears. Your art and creative life on this planet is meaningful, so thank you for sharing it with me. If you like this podcast, whatever platform you're listening to it on, please subscribe and share it with your friends. You can also leave me a positive review to show your support. This helps me to reach more people with the algorithmic magic and keep the show going strong. If you want to see more of what I do and check out the art that I create, you can visit my website at www.pmsartwork.com or follow me on social media everywhere at PMS Artwork. That's it for now. See you back here next time.